Hello and welcome to Pluribus Unum Fireside Chats. Not as good as FDR's, but hey, it's something. Now, today is not the episode that you expected. You see, originally I was supposed to be interviewing Socialist Party presidential candidate Elijah Manley. But, it's been rescheduled to be recorded next Thursday and then be released the following Monday. So, you're instead going to be getting this. And then after this, the interview, and then this. So, these episodes will happen, just not in the order that it was originally stated that it could be in. I mean, either way, you're going to get 3 quality episodes, so you're not really losing anything. And next week, I may also appear in a bit of a something you may or may not know. I don't know. Some of you do, one of you does, but the rest of you, no, you don't know. But, it's coming. You're going to get a lot of quality stuff. And I'm currently working on the main series video about, Mexican presidential elections. So you'll also have that if that's what you're into. So, as the great Noam Keemstar once said, let's get right into the news. The first story is actually something that I've kind of been neglecting, but don't worry, I'll fill you in on some of the blanks before we get into that. So, to start off with, of course, it involves the Venezuelan embassy. Now, as you can see, this is the story that I have. It's not the most recent development of the story, but let me explain. And of course, activists were arrested, and, basically, here's what's been happening. At the Venezuelan embassy, there were a lot of activists that were pro-Guaido, some that were against Guaido and the U.S.'s intervention. Some of the individuals that were there were, Ian Schlockman of the Green Party, Ajamu Baraka of the Green Party, Kevin Zeese, Margaret Flowers of the Green Party, Code Pink. Basically, it's a bunch of people who were against the intervention in Venezuela. Well, a lot of activists, 4 in particular, Kevin Zeese, Margaret Flowers, David Paul, and Adrienne Pine, they went inside of the Venezuelan embassy and pretty much barricaded themselves inside. Well, I don't know if it's specifically barricaded, but they've been inside of the Venezuelan embassy for they were protesting for more than a month, and I think they've been in there for a couple of weeks. I don't know if that's specific, but they've been in there for a while. And eventually it got to the point where they were running out of electricity. The electricity was cut off by Guaido. Guaido actually ordered the embassy to have its power cut, despite the fact that he has literally no power. And then, lo and behold, Jesse Jackson walks in and gives them food because they were running out of food as well. And there was actually a scuffle that was caught on video. And, well, actually, the thing is, there's this guy who's part of this here from a Venezuelan movement. It's a group of people that are you don't understand Venezuela. We understand Venezuela because we've lived there. But it's the thing. Here's the weird thing. I don't understand how it makes him look good, because these people are in a building and they're like, can we please get some food? And he's like, nope. and the thing that I compared it to is I don't understand. It's there are people starving and dying in Venezuela. Now it's their turn. But anyways, Margaret Flowers, Kevin Zeese, David Paul, and Adrienne Pine, they were arrested, as you can see by the title of this story. And Kevin Zeese was the one who posted a ominous Facebook post that said these guys have broken into the embassy. Police officers, they broke into the embassy and they dragged him out. But this is actually more developments to the story. Kevin Zeese, Margaret Flowers, the 4 protecting the 4 people in the embassy, they were released from prison. and immediately went right back to protesting the Venezuelan stuff. So yeah, there's a lot of stories that I've been neglecting. I'll include, like, there's one channel, I forget what it's called, but it's like, they've been doing a really good job. I'll put like a link in the description about like all the good things that have been shown at the Venezuelan embassy and the developments of the story. But anyways, dang it, I forgot. You know what, I'll just look this up. Okay, so that's just to make sure I put that proper tag in it. Democratic Louisiana Governor John Bel Edwards prepares to sign restrictive abortion bill. Bucking many members of his party, Louisiana Democratic Governor John Bel Edwards says he'll sign an abortion restriction bill that comes to his desk should it clear the state legislature. The heartbeat bill would restrict abortions after a heartbeat is detected in the fetus, which is about 6 weeks into the pregnancy. The bill faces one final vote in the state house, introduced by Democratic State Senator John Milkovich. It passed the state senate at the beginning of May. So I thought it was just John Bel Edwards that was screwing things up. But no, this heartbeat bill was introduced by a Democrat. But yeah, vote in blue no matter who. The Democrats, they're good on abortion. Vote blue no matter who. This is what it gets you. Oh, I'm against abortion. Well, we gotta vote blue no matter who. Vote blue no matter who. Vote blue no matter who. This is what it's getting us. There's a Democratic governor and a Democratic state senator that are literally like, let's pretty much ban abortions. Speaking of Democrats and failing on abortion, Dan Lipinski is facing a tough primary challenge against Marie Newman again. And Nancy Pelosi is saying this. Nancy Pelosi says Democrats should be flexible on candidates' abortion stances. The Democratic Party should not impose the support for abortion rights as a litmus test on its candidates, House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi said on Tuesday, because it needs a broad and inclusive agenda to win back the socially conservative voters who helped elect President Donald Trump. This is the Democratic Party. This is not a rubber stamp party, Pelosi said in an interview on the Washington Post reporters. I grew up Nancy D'Alessandro in Baltimore, Maryland, in Little Italy, and it's a very devout Catholic family, fiercely patriotic, proud of our town and heritage, and staunchly Democrat. Most of those people, my family, extended family, are not pro-choice. You think I'm kicking them out of the Democratic Party? Oh boy. You see, this is really coming from the fact that Dan Lipinski, who is a well-known conservative Democrat, has openly been against abortion and, until recently, has been against gay marriage. There was a bill, Equality Act, that was passed in the House, and he's like, oh, I'll vote for it. Because, he's losing a lot of his support to Marie Newman, who's she's progressive on pretty much all the other issues, but she's also like, yeah, but also I am for abortion. Well, I mean, not for abortion, she's pro-choice, but Nancy Pelosi fails again. You're supposed to be the leader. Lead! Can you lead, please? There's this, you're Speaker of the House. You're the top head of the Democratic Party in the House. Lead! Can you lead your party? You're supposed to do that. You're supposed to be the one that's kind of like I snap my fingers and if you're a Democrat, you can get kicked out of the party. Like she's like, my family was devoutly Italian and Catholic. You think I'm going to ban them from the Democratic Party? I mean, that's not in your jurisdiction. You're in charge of you're in charge of the House members. It's not like could you imagine like that'd be actually just kind of funny to think about. Like, Could you imagine, like, you're a registered voter of a political party for a long time, and then, like, the House Speaker walks up to you and just like, I revoke your membership. But here's the thing, like, and she thinks, like, oh no, this is gonna help us in the long run, because we gotta win back the socially conservative voters who helped elect President Donald Trump. These are not the voters you lost. You're completely ignoring the voters you actually lost. You're ignoring the two-time Obama supporter that voted for Donald Trump because they're gonna keep his jobs in the U.S. Why don't you focus on that guy instead of the one that wants to ban abortions? Can you do your fucking job? I'm perplexed. I mean, I shouldn't be perplexed. This is Nancy Pelosi's, her entire thing. The moderate Democrats, like Dan Lipinski, Seth Moulton, who was running for president, if you don't remember. Don't worry, I forget Seth Moulton all the time. And Tim Ryan, they always like, stab Nancy Pelosi, and then she gives them what they want anyways. But a progressive, like, Mark Buchanan and Barbara Lee, they've been kissing Nancy Pelosi's ring for years. And she's never thrown them a bone. But yes, Seth Moulton's like, you know, I think I want to run against Nancy Pelosi for speaker because I don't think she's a good fit for speaker. Literally every single Democrat that voted against her speakership bid last time was a moderate Democrat. None of the progressives. All the progressives bucked the party line, not bucked the party line, but like, they stayed with the party and voted to make Nancy Pelosi speaker. But, again, Pelosi, do your job. If you're not gonna lead, like, to quote Alan Grayson, you can lead, you can follow, or get the hell out of my way. You're clearly not leading. Like, Nancy Pelosi is no leader. I'm just gonna say it. Nancy Pelosi is no leader. The only reason, like, when I run for the House of Representatives, and if I win, I'm 100% challenging Nancy Pelosi for speakership. And you might say, wait, why would you do that in your first, like, month? Like, you just got elected. Why would you focus on speakership now? Because she's not a leader. Nancy Pelosi is no leader. This woman is no leader. She's not a leader. This isn't the same Nancy Pelosi that would walk out and protest for gay rights. It's not the same Pelosi. This Pelosi's been bogged down by money. And she's a hypocrite, a liar. This is the Hillary Clinton of the House. But anyways, now on to a somewhat interesting story. Remember when I said a little bit ago that Chelsea Manning was free? Well, she's back in jail. She refused to testify in the WikiLeaks probe. Again. A federal judge on Thursday ordered Chelsea Manning back to jail for the second time this year after she refused to testify before a grand jury investigating WikiLeaks. The former Army intelligence analyst was in a federal courthouse in Virginia, just outside of Washington, D.C., to ask a judge to quash a subpoena for her to provide grand jury testimony. G. Zachary Tolwinger, the U.S. Attorney from the Eastern District of Virginia, said at the press conference after hearing that he plans to pursue the subpoena for Manning's testimony, knowing that she has been granted immunity in the proceedings. Manning was previously incarcerated for 2 months for refusing to testify before a grand jury on the same manner. She was released last week when that term of the jury expired. And let me see. I don't think it doesn't mention it here, but apparently I heard that Chelsea Manning, like, it's not even that. She's gonna get like a fine of a certain amount of money, and then like a certain like. So she's gonna get not only a fine for refusing to testify, but every day after like a week, she gets like $30 added to her fine, and then every day after that, like $50. I mean, I'm slightly like not 100% on that, but, you know, she's like, you know, I mean, Chelsea Manning's a hero, she should be freed, and we all know that shtick, but, you know, we already know that story. Chelsea Manning's a hero, and she should be free, and, you know, the people who, you know, were in charge of the things that she revealed should be in jail instead of her. But anyways, next story, which is kind of hilarious. I am using an ad blocker. None of you guys deserve my ads. Okay. Beto O'Rourke to relaunch presidential bid after poll rating halves. Democratic challenger drops from 12% support to 6% in recent polls. Beto O'Rourke is reportedly planning to relaunch his 2020 presidential bid less than 2 months after his record-breaking campaign launch. Mr. O'Rourke won the highest first-day donation haul by a presidential candidate in history, since surpassed by Joe Biden, but early enthusiasm for his campaign has evaporated and has faded to the view of a crowded Democratic field of candidates. In an acknowledgement that his campaign is stalling, the former Texas congressman said he's planning to reintroduce ahead of the Democratic debate next month. Oh, yeah, the Democratic debate's next month. Yeah, it is. I forgot. Whoa. It's next month. Oh, that's why Mike Gravel was saying, like, we gotta get our last money now. Now's the chance. You bet I'm gonna try and cover that the best way I can. Now, I don't know how, but I will. However, his top aides have denied a full reinvention is being prepared and maintain that his trademarks of a recent Senate campaign against Senator Ted Cruz. But, okay, so he's pretty much gonna remake himself into a... Like, basically, he's trying to rebrand himself because the thing about it, and it's something that I also kind of said before, the honeymoon phase of Beto O'Rourke, Stacey Abrams, Andrew Gillum, it's gone. The honeymoon phase for them is gone. The fact that these guys are like amazing, brilliant people running against these corrupt establishment Republicans, the honeymoon phase is pretty much over for these guys. So now we gotta focus on their issues, and we find out that Abrams and, like, they don't really have that much. Like, Abrams and O'Rourke, they don't really have that much. But, you know, I mean, there's not much you can really do in that state. I think I may have to reevaluate, because I originally thought that Beto O'Rourke was going to be like the establishment's boy this time around. Now I think it may be Pete Buttigieg. Maybe Kamala. Kamala, Buttigieg, and Biden will be like near the top of the establishment guys' big thing. My video on like how the Democrats rank may have to happen after the debate, so I'll need to see like, are those guys, who's the smartest of those guys? But anyways, the next story isn't really a story. It's more of just a collection of tweets and reactions. As you can see, it's from Justin Amash. Here are my principal conclusions. 1. Attorney General Barr has deliberately misinterpreted Mueller's report. 2. President Trump has engaged in impeachable conduct. 3. Partisanship has eroded our system of checks and balances. 4. Fewer members of Congress have actually read the report. I offer these conclusions only after having read Mueller's redacted report, carefully and completely, having read or watched pertinent statements and testimony, and having discussed this matter with my staff, who have thoroughly reviewed materials and provided me with further analysis. In comparing Barr's principal conclusions, congressional testimony, and other statements to Mueller's report, it is clear that Barr intended to mislead the public about the special counsel Mueller's analysis and findings. Barr's misrepresentation are significant, but often subtle, frequently taking the form of sleight-of-hand qualifications or logical fallacies, which he hopes people will notice. Under our Constitution, the President shall be removed from office, impeaching, or conviction of treason, bribery, or other high crimes or misdemeanors. While high crimes or misdemeanors is not defined, the context implies conduct that violates public trust. Contrary to Barr's portrayal, Mueller report reveals that President Trump engaged in specific actions and pattern of behavior meet the threshold of impeachment. So, pretty much, Amash, so yeah, he's this is like Amash appears to be for Amash. It's pretty much always been that Amash has been like the fiercest critic of Donald Trump. Now, and when I say fiercest critic, I mean, hold on. When I say fiercest critic, he's not only like, he doesn't only walk the walk, but he also talks the talk in regards to Trump. So, why didn't I just look up? Now, Amash, he's kind of been like one of the representatives that has voted with Trump the least. At least in the Republican side. Let me see how accurate that statement is. Because I know Walter B. Jones is the one who voted with Trump the least amount of time out of all Republicans. So, not quite. How far down is Amash? Maybe Amash isn't as far down as I thought he was. But anyways, like, he's been like one of Trump's fiercest critics, while Jones has been like the one who's voted with Trump the least, but as I mentioned before. But he's been one of Trump's fiercest critics. Oh, there he is. I messed up. He is. He's like it's like Jones, Amash, Massey, Fitzpatrick. See, like, out of all the current living members of Congress, he's the Republican that votes with Trump the least. So, I mean, despite the fact that the media is trying to say, like, no, it appears that Mitt Romney is the fiercest critic of Trump. Amash has really been, like, Trump's fiercest critic on the Republican side. So, it's no surprise that he's actually taking, some kind of stance on the fact that he could be impeachable. Now, again, it may not be the right time. Maybe it might be the right time. I don't know. It's like a little iffy on certain aspects of the Trump policy because of the fact that, similar to the Bush impeachments, Kucinich was going in the right direction and doing it, but the timing may have been off because of the fact that people are like, well, I mean, the next presidential election is like right around the corner, so why bother impeaching him when we could just beat him in the next election? But, it's kind of an iffy subject. But anyways, now on to 2020 watch with the next presidential candidates to enter the Democratic field. Bill de Blasio. New York Mayor Bill de Blasio.
I'm a New Yorker. I've known Trump's a bully for a long time. This is not news to me or anyone else here. And I know how to take him on.
When Donald Trump started separating families,
Our message to the federal government is simple. Stop this broken, inhumane policy right now. We sent lawyers to the border to help protect those families. When he told us he was going to cut off our security funding, we took him to court and we beat him.
when we saw our national government walk away from the Paris Agreement, we doubled down.
This battle to save our Earth will be won or lost in our lifetime. There's no second chance. Don't back down in the face of a bully. Confront him. Take him on. As president, I will take on the wealthy. I will take on the big corporations. I will not rest until this government serves working people. As mayor of the largest city in America, I've done just that.
De Blasio for president, guys.
Donald Trump must be stopped. I've beaten him before, and I will do it again. I'm Bill de Blasio, and I'm running for president because it's time we put working people first.
So, yeah. Bill de Blasio is running for president of the United States. Why? Because he wants to put America and working people first. Because literally no other presidential candidate is doing that right now. No presidential candidate is fighting to fix the climate change and like bring back the Paris Climate Agreement. No presidential candidate is fighting to keep working people first. Literally no other presidential candidate is doing that at this moment. Oh wait, there are a lot of presidential candidates doing that. And by a lot, I mean 3, 6, at 7 tops. So, yeah. Why are you running? Maybe it's a conspiracy. Maybe it's not. I'm just saying. Like, his thing is like, pre-K for all, paid sick leave, boosting minimum wage to $15. Again, there's like apparently nobody else running for president that is doing this, so it's my job to do that. Bill, you're nowhere. You're getting nowhere. You're not getting anywhere at this. You're not gonna win. What do you think? What do you think? Bill de Blasio is gonna walk in and just be like, "Oh, it's Bill de Blasio's time to shine." Bill, no, it's not your time. If you honestly had guts, you'd have endorsed Bernie Sanders long before this. But, you gotta run because blah, 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 blah. There's literally no reason for you to run. You're only running, like, if it's, like, let's just say hypothetically, it's not like because they want to push the convention to a second thing, like a second ballot. You're still going to you're just doing this for your ego. Why are so many freaking mayors running? Bill de Blasio, Pete Buttigieg, Wayne Messam. Who the fuck's gonna vote for Wayne Messam? Hold on, guys. Wayne Messam's just gonna waltz in and take the presidency by storm. You're not going to get far. You're going to drop out. And the thing is, like, Bill de Blasio running may actually tie into my whole conspiracy theory about, like, pushing the convention to a second ballot. You'll know it when it happens. I'm gathering a lot of the evidence right now as we speak. It was all brought onto me by grumpy Bernie Sanders, but, whatever. Now, it's the 2020 presidential candidate of the day / party. Technically, parties are back because it's a party website, not specifically for the candidacy of this person. The Light Party with David something. I forget his last name. Whatever. But anyways, he's running a campaign under the Light Party. A holistic, proactive, educational, new political paradigm party dedicated to health, peace, and freedom for all. The Light Party platform is a synthesis of the finest elements of the Republican, Democratic, Libertarian, and Green parties. We have formulated a practical, synergistic 7-point program which addresses and serves to resolve the current socioeconomic and ecological challenges. We urge you now to educate, support, and align yourself with the Light Party, our progressive and inspired programs and policies. So, what are the 7-point program? What's the 7-point program of this party? Let's see what it is. Dedicated to health. It's your best of blah, blah, blah. See, Ralph Nader. This is a good design. Oh, this is Flash? He has Flash on his website? Project Health. I'm not going to read all this. Pretty much, it's like Project Health, Economic Reform, Project Light, Project Health. Okay, here it is. There's so many things. A green tax on environmentally unstable things. That's kind of good. Collect tariff on all goods manufactured across abroad. Forgiveness of debts. Restructuring of the third world debt. Redistribution credit card debt. No, stop predatory lending. That's good. He said like up here, single payer. Single payer. Yeah, I like single payer. Let's see. I don't. He's got a good platform, but it's not necessarily going to get him that far. He's he's running under the freaking Light Party. The only people that are going to vote for him is like him and his mom and his sister. Let's get to the ISideWith Test, because this is going to take a while. The ISideWith Test, as you may know from a past episode that I've done, the ISideWith Test and me don't necessarily go that well. Let me show you how will the ISideWith Test and me go along. Basically, like, it kind of started glitching. The footage wasn't that good, but anyways, hopefully the footage will be better. I'm gonna check my capture. Looks all good. So, and the thing about it is, I like to be incredibly thorough, so this test is gonna be long. So let's go right ahead. I do more political quizzes, but there aren't that many, surprisingly. And the ones I have are just like, are you a Democrat or are you a Republican? Or are you conservative and liberal? There's not much interesting ones. Like, won't there ever be one that's like, which left-wing leader are you? But anyways, let's get into the questions. All of them. I'll answer pretty much as many as I can. The ones that I do not answer, I don't know what I'll do with them, but I think I'll just skip them. But I will skip very, very, very few. Should the president be able to authorize military force against Al-Qaeda without congressional approval? No. More. Should the U.S. assassinate suspected terrorists in foreign countries? I'm going to say no. What is your stance on abortion? Pro-choice. Do you support the legalization of same-sex marriage? Yeah. Should the government continue to fund Planned Parenthood? Yeah. Should gay couples have the same adoption rights as straight couples? Yeah, sure, absolutely. Should marital rape be classified and punished as severely as non-marital rape? Absolutely, yeah. Should gender identity be added to anti-discrimination laws? Yeah, sure. Or at least make a anti-discrimination law that just says you can't discriminate. But for the sake of this, I'll say yeah. Should health insurance providers be required to offer free birth control? Well, let me see. The government should support abstinence programs. No, but yeah. They should be free birth control. Should a business be able to deny services to a customer if their request conflicts with their owner's religious beliefs? No. If a person came into my cake factory, or whatever, it said, I want a cake factory that says, death to all Mexicans, I'd say, you want it to be chocolate or vanilla? Should the military allow women to serve in combat roles? Yeah, sure, absolutely. Do you support the death penalty? You know, actually, to the John Oliver show, thanks to John Oliver, I'm actually kind of opposed to the death penalty now. Too many people are instantly convicted. Yeah, I'm just gonna say no, because the thing about the death penalty is it's got like a lot more bad things than you realize. For example, like there are 3 chemicals that you inject. 1, you inject the sedative. 2, you inject the paralytic, which paralyzes you. Then 3, you inject the death serum. The death serum was not made by doctors. It's just a random chemical concoction that causes cardiac arrest. It feels like fire going into veins, and then we don't even have we don't even have the anesthetic anymore. No way, it's an anesthetic. Now we use a sedative. So it's purely used to sedate people. So instead of being completely unconscious and then dying, you are just sedated, and then you get to feel fire in your veins, and you can't do anything about it because you're paralyzed. The first time someone did it, they actually was desperately trying to tell the people something's wrong, because even then they injected it, not in his vein, they injected it in his muscle, so he died an even slower, painful death. So yeah, not for the death penalty. Should states be allowed to display the Confederate flag on government property? No. If it's taxpayer money, it's no Confederate flag. Should terminally ill patients be allowed to end their lives via assisted suicide? Yeah. Now you might say, wait a second, I thought you were against the death penalty. But these people want to die. These people want to die. So yeah. People on death row, they don't want to die. Should transgender athletes be allowed to compete in athletic events? Joe Rogan told me that transgender athletes are bad, so I'm going to say no. No, I'm just kidding. They should, of course, be allowed to compete in athletic events. Duh. Should businesses be required to have women on their board of directors? No, Yeah, board members should be qualified regardless of gender. It has nothing to do with the fact that... You know what, I'm actually going to put less, because I don't really care about that. Should women be allowed to wear a niqab or face veil in civic ceremonies? Yeah, sure. I guess, I'll just put, but their identity must be identified by... Yeah, because I don't want some man to be walking in and be like, this is my wife, and then she's actually being kidnapped, and we can't check her because, niqab. Should the government support separation of church and state by removing references to God on money, federal buildings, and national monuments? Yeah. Should universities provide trigger warnings and safe spaces for students? If they so choose. It's ultimately up to the individual places to decide if they want to have a trigger warning or safe space. I'll actually preface it like this. If the students so choose. Okay. Should the government increase environmental regulations to prevent climate change? Absolutely, yes. We are 100% going to die in 12 years due to uncontrollable climate change. Jay Inslee is the most corporate Democrat that I would vote for because of the fact that he's going to fix climate change. This needs to be the thing. Should the U.S. withdraw from the Paris Climate Agreement? No. Should the U.S. expand offshore drilling? No. Climate change is pressing. Should disposable plastics, such as plastic cups, plates, cutlery that contain less than 50% biodegradable surfaces be banned? No, I wouldn't say banned. I guess... Dang it. I'll just leave this question blank because I really don't know the full extent. I probably should have done research on that specific question because I've always skipped that question. Should the government stop? Yeah. Do you support the use of hydraulic fracking to extract oil and natural gas resources? No. No fracking. Shut the frack up. Ha 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 ha. Yeah. It's so fracking ridiculous. Ha ha ha. So hilarious. Jimmy Dore, you be the small YouTuber and I be the comedian. Should the government give tax credits and subsidies to the wind power industry? I guess... Yeah. But I guess it'll be more like, yeah, I'm just going to put all yes. There should be, and there should also be a tax on carbon. Should researchers be allowed to use animals to testing the safety of drugs? Not for cosmetics, 100%. Like, because, oh boy, an animal tested. I have a friend who's like strictly against animal testing. I don't really see the problem too much, depending on the situation. Like, it depends on the situation. Like, for example, a cancer drug. Are we going to really waste time injecting cancer inside of a monkey so we can test the cancer on him? Or are we just going to find some guy with cancer who's like already on death's row anyways? So, he'll instead be like, I'll just test this drug. If I die, so what? Should cities be allowed to offer private companies economic incentives to relocate? Yes, as tax revenue will be exclusively I'll punish them for moving jobs out of the country. Sure. Should the government make cuts to public spending in order to reduce national debt? Nah. Should the U.S. raise taxes on the rich? Yes. Well, what's that episode of Gravity Falls? Is like, yes, absolutely. I rigged it. Should the government raise the federal minimum wage? Absolutely, yeah. If we live in a society where... Oh, wait. You know what? Yeah, it'll just be yeah. Because there's so many things. Should businesses be required to pay time leave for full-time employees during birth of child or sick family member? Yeah, sure. Should the U.S. raise or lower taxes for corporations? Raise them taxes. Well, on the top 1%. Should employers be required to pay men and women the same salary of the same job? Yeah. Sure. I mean, let's just say hypothetically you think the wage gap is a myth. I don't know if it is or not. I don't know. There are ins and outs of it, so I mean, there's a lot of ins and outs to it. But let's just say hypothetically you're like, the wage gap is a myth. Well, yeah, then why don't we just put it in law? Because here's the thing. Let's say the wage, let's take the two people, the SJW who's like, the wage gap is 100% it, and the men's rights activist is like, the wage gap is 100% shit. And I'm just like, guys, why don't we just put a law that says men and women get paid the same salary for the same job? Because if you're a men's rights activist, you'd be like, oh, well, the wage gap is a myth, but this law will just get all the SJWs to shut up. But if you think that the wage gap is not a myth, you would then say, oh, then blah, 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 something. You know, like, you'd be happy that this problem's getting fixed. Either way, everyone wins. Should welfare recipients be tested for drugs? No. Should the government prevent mega mergers of corporations that could potentially control a large percentage of the... Yeah, 100%. Do you support a universal basic income program? I'll just add my own stance. Need to do further research. Because the thing is, I am not explicitly for or against UBI. There are cases for it and there are cases against it. So, I'm just in a middle ground. I had a whole debate with a Yang Gang guy who he was like, it was like, do you support a federal jobs guarantee or a universal basic income? And I was like, I support more of a federal jobs guarantee. This question is no longer relevant and should be removed. No, I'd say that it is relevant. Andrew Yang's running. Do you believe labor unions help or hurt the economy? Help. 100% help. Do you believe that there should be fewer or more restrictions on current welfare benefits? Fewer restrictions? Sure. Should the government require businesses to pay salaried employees making up to $40,000 a year, time and a half for overtime hours? Yeah, sure. Everybody should be paid for... If you're working longer than you're supposed to be, then you should 100% be getting, you should be getting paid for overtime. Should the government ban increase in the tax rates on profits earned from sales of stocks, bonds, and real estate? Yeah, we should do that. And you might say, but this is a tax on the people. What normal person's buying stocks and bonds? Seriously. Should the IRS create a free electronic tax filing system? Congress passed taxpayers first. Should allow taxpayers to file their taxes on the IRS website without having to pay use of private tax filing services and software. Tax software companies, including the markets of TurboTax and H&R Block, lobbied Congress to pass the bill. So countries, including Spain, Denmark, and Sweden, use return-free filing systems that... This is return-free filing? 100%! I'm for return-free filing. Hold on. Yeah, I'm for return-free filing. Return-free filing is simple. You check, instead of you doing your taxes, like the thing is, the government knows everything about your taxes. They know your income. They know everything about your taxes. And return-free filing, they do your taxes for you. And if they screw up, you go, wait, hold on a second there, buckaroo. I have $2. I don't have $3. And then you check their work and they're like, oops, my bad, whoops. And then, because think about it, if it didn't work, how else would they know that you screwed up on your taxes and send you to prison? People get thrown in prison all the time because they don't know how to do their taxes properly. Or at the very least, we should give them a tax class. Should the government use economic stimulus to aid the country during times of recession? Yeah, sure. I'm for one of those, like, deficit spending guys. I guess technically, I don't know specifically that. Should the current estate tax be decreased? What's the current estate tax? Estate tax is 40% and only applies to estates with a value greater than $3.45 million. 15, the 3,000 estates. Proponents of this tax, including Hillary Clinton, argue that more estates should be... No, I think it's good for now. Nah, I'll just say do it at a progressive rate. Should the U.S. continue to participate in the North American Free Trade Agreement, NAFTA? I'm gonna say... No, trade between members of... All we're doing is shipping jobs away to other countries. That's all we're doing. Should the U.S. president offer tax breaks to individual companies to keep jobs in the U.S.? No! Let's make the outsourcing businesses have to pay more. If you're gonna leave, you have to pay more. Buy American, sell American. Should the government subsidize farmers? I guess, yeah. Like, local farms or smaller farms. Maybe not big corporate farms. Should the government add or increase tariffs on products imported to the country? Yeah, sure. Should citizens be allowed to save or invest their monies in offshore bank accounts? I used to say sure, because I was like, I was like, if an individual citizen wants to give their money to an offshore banking account, what should I stop them? But then, as I got older, I started realizing, wait a second. What normal citizen is saving their money in offshore banking accounts? I mean, seriously, could you imagine, like, say, like, a teacher, just like, I'm gonna give my 2-cent salary and put it in an offshore banking account. Should the U.S. increase tariffs imported from products from China? Yeah, sure. I don't really see a big issue. Because according to Donald Trump, he said, like, that was a quote he said, like, China's raping us in regards to our economic policy. Would you favor increased sales tax to reduce property taxes? I'll keep, sales tax. Sales tax, wouldn't it explicitly target, like, small people? Yeah, wouldn't it be, like, specifically targeting, like, small middle-class people who buy stuff at a store? Should pension plans for federal, state, and local government workers be transitioned to privately managed accounts? I think I'll say, nah. They could be put in jeopardy. Should the Federal Reserve be audited by Congress? Sure, yeah. I'm with Ron Paul, Alan Grayson, and Bernie Sanders on this. Audit the Fed. Do you support the Trans-Pacific Partnership? No. TPP would kill all of our jobs. Should pension payments be increased for retiring government workers? I guess I'll say yes for government workers, but not politicians. Politicians, they make enough money, so let's just send them packing. Should an in-state sales tax apply to online purchases of in-state buyers from an out-of-state seller? Now this is actually kind of tricky. I guess I'll just leave this blank. I don't know. I used to have, like, an answer to this, but I don't really can think of one. Should the government classify Bitcoin as legal currency? Yeah, sure. Should internet service providers be allowed to speed up access? No. This is the net neutrality question. And I am strictly for net neutrality. Keep net neutrality. Net neutrality. Should there be more restrictions on the current practice of purchasing a gun? Yeah. Are you in favor of Are you in favor of decriminalizing drug use? Yeah, sure. I'm with AMLO on this one. Do you support affirmative action programs? I'll put this one because affirmative action is, like, kind of iffy. Should teachers be allowed to carry guns in school? Now that I think about it, no, this is crazy talk. I guess, yeah, just do that. No, increase highly professional security guards instead. They had a teacher that was talking about, like, how he ran down the street and was like, I'm good, Jesus is the Lord. Do I want that man carrying a gun? And he said he wanted to nuke 5 countries. Do I really want that guy to be holding a gun in class? Should local police... he did say that he used to work in, like, Secret Service or something. Like a bodyguard of some kind. Should local police increase surveillance and patrol of Muslim neighborhoods? No. No, just no. I mean, I'm just no. Like, no, this is like, what? It's like going to a man whose last name is Lynch and then going to his house because you're like, I think you might lynch someone. No. Should people be on the no-fly list be banned from purchasing guns and ammunition? Yeah, but not until the no-fly list screening is a bit more protected. Because the no-fly list has some iffy things. It's mostly just stuff like, blah, blah, blah. But anyways, should the redrawing of congressional districts be controlled by an independent, nonpartisan commission? Yeah, sure, 100%, absolutely. North Carolina. We live in a state where I live in one of the 3 blue parts of the state, and it's not even the 3 blue areas. Should there be term limits for members of Congress? Absolutely, yeah. Should victims of gun violence be allowed to sue firearms dealers and manufacturers? I guess, yeah, but it would really only be applied to the dealer. It's really up to the guy who sold the gun who screwed up. The manufacturer just made the gun. He didn't exactly sell the gun. He was, because let's say I made a product and then Mr. Beat sold it to someone and then that product now caused that person to die. Why do I have to be punished for something that Mr. Beat did? Mr. Beat can get punished, not me. Should it be illegal to burn the American flag? No. Absolutely. It's freedom of speech, boy. Even if you burn down that flag, you're doing what that flag represents. That flag represents freedom for all. And you burning that flag means that you have the right to burn that flag. That's your freedom. Your freedom. Should the NSA be allowed to collect basic metadata of citizens' phone calls such as numbers, timestamps, and call durations? No. Absolutely not. Russ Feingold was right. Should the government regulate social media sites as a means to prevent fake news and misinformation? Let's see. No. Andrew Yang, I know you think that this is the case, but if the government is telling you, like, this is not real, this isn't true news, it's a slippery slope that you're just going to be like, oh, well, the government is going to censor whatever they want. Do you support the Patriot Act? No. 100% no. Should the Supreme Court be reformed to include more seats and term limits on the judges? Now, this question is just wrong. I mean, not the question. This answer is just wrong. No, the Supreme Court should not be politicized. I guess I would have to say term limits would be good. But that's pretty much it. Nah, I don't really know that much about the Supreme Court. Should the government pass laws which protect whistleblowers? Yeah, sure, absolutely. Whistleblowers are good. Should the government be allowed to seize private property with reasonable compensation for public or civic use? Public projects only. I mean, I guess I'll say this one. This one sounds more positive. Should the government raise the retirement age for Social Security? No. And will disadvantage the low-income seniors whose life expectancy is lower than the wealthier ones. Should the government grant immunity to Edward Snowden? Absolutely. Should the military upgrade Air Force One? No, not really. I mean, this is nothing. Should health insurers be allowed to deny coverage to people with pre-existing conditions? No. Should the government regulate the prices of life-saving drugs? Absolutely. Do you support the legalization of marijuana? Let's legalize that dank kush, boy. Should the government increase funding for mental health research and treatment? Absolutely, yeah. Do you support a single-payer healthcare system? Yes, 100%, absolutely. Oh, it's yes, definitely, absolutely. Should the federal government increase funding for healthcare for low-income individuals? Medicaid. I prefer switching to a single-payer system. Do you support the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act? Mandatory single-payer system is better. Medicare for all, boy. Should people be required to work in order to receive Medicaid? Nah. Yeah, because the majority of people who... yeah, I'm just gonna go now. Should the federal government be allowed to negotiate drug prices for Medicare? Yeah, absolutely. Should cities open drug safe havens where people who are addicted to legal drugs can use them under the supervision of medical professionals? Absolutely. Yeah, sure. I know me and Humongous disagree on this, but yeah, this is a good idea. I understand why he would be against the idea, because I think it was his daughter or his sister. I remember it was his sister, but apparently maybe it his daughter. Should there be more or less privatization of veterans' health care? Less. Do you support increasing taxes for the rich in order to reduce interest rates for student loans? Yes, definitely, absolutely. Should the federal government pay for tuition at four-year colleges and universities? Yes, definitely, absolutely. Do you support Common Core national standards? No. Teach to every student's potential instead of uniform testing. Common Core is not that good. Should the government fund universal preschool? I've been hearing a lot of people say universal pre-K is a good idea. But I mean... sure, yeah, why not? Do you support charter schools? Nope. Should every 18-year-old citizen be required to provide at least 1 year military service? Surprisingly, Pete Buttigieg, I would have to say, no. Should the U.S. remain in the United Nations? Sure, yeah. I mean, the thing is, the UN, if we just decide one day to just be like, nope, we're just going to leave the UN, the UN's going to be like, whoa, hold on, why is the U.S. leaving the UN? Should we accept refugees from Syria? Yes, definitely, absolutely. It's more of a more. Should the government increase or decrease military spending? Decrease. We spend more money than literally every other nation in the world combined. Should the military be allowed to use enhanced interrogation? Nope. Nope, even McCain was right on this issue. No. It's torture. It's literal torture. Should the U.S. remain in NATO? Now, NATO is more of an iffy subject. Because, let me see if there's another stance on issues that people like. Funding. I'll have to add my own stance on this because it's yes, due to the fact that we'd put a target over our head if we leave. we'd definitely be putting a target over our head if we left NATO, so we might have to just sit by and just stay there. If it dissolved tomorrow, I wouldn't really miss it, but I mean, should the government attempt to influence foreign elections? Russiagate is a thing, but we're like, should we do that? Should the U.S. join a boycott of Israel? No. 100% no. Should the U.S. continue to support Israel? No. In a sense, no. Just, nah. I think I may have to add my own stance just because, I mean, let me do heads or tails. Heads or tails? Heads, I get heads, I add my own answer. Tails for just no. Okay, I added my own answer. Let me explain why. No, because the U.S. should be less involved in other countries' affairs. Israel's current administration is violating Palestinian rights and U.S. support of Israel puts a target on our heads to radical Islamic terror groups. So, yeah. There are a lot of reasons to stop supporting Israel. I'll just put Israel's government because there's been a lot of stuff in the past governments as well, not just the Likud. There's been a lot of other bad parts of Israelis' history. I'm not saying Israel shouldn't exist, because Israel has the right to exist, but I'm just saying a lot of Israel's current and a lot of its former leaders have not exactly been kind to Palestinian rights, and literally, look, I mean, not to be mean, but like, I'm just gonna look it up. 9/11. This is not 9/11. Control F. Israel. Motives for the September 11th attacks. U.S. support of Israel. See, this is... You see, the Israel has kind of... here's the thing, and this is also kind of getting off track, but, in the interview Mr. Beat did, he was, explaining, I'll include that in the description, too, he was explaining, Israel's the only real democracy in the Middle East. Well, yeah, that's true, but it's not really working well. And it's people are we're holding on to this hope that Israel will inspire all these other countries to become democracies as well. Well, it's not really working. I mean, I'd be funneling a lot of money into it if it was spreading like wildfire. If it was spreading like wildfire, But I mean, there's certain issues for and against Israel, but I've now kind of gotten into the Palestinian rights and two-state solutions. Two-state solution is the best solution. I'm just going to call that up front. 1947 partitioning plan. Should the U.S. conduct military strikes against North Korea in order to destroy their long-range missiles? No. Should foreign terrorism suspects be given constitutional rights? Absolutely. Should the U.S. provide military aid to Saudi Arabia during its conflict with Yemen? No. Should the U.S. decrease or increase foreign aid spending? Decrease. It's not just Israel. I would cut funding to a lot of countries. It's not specifically because they're Jewish. I'll be cutting funding to Saudi Arabia too. Do you support President Obama's move to lift the trade and travel embargo on Cuba? Yeah, sure. Cuba didn't do anything wrong for the most part at that point. I mean, when I say Cuba didn't do anything wrong, I mean, by the time that happened, a lot of the bad stuff about Cuba is mostly just dissipated. Should the U.S. military fly drones over foreign countries to gain intelligence and kill foreign suspected terrorists? No. Not at all. Tulsi, Bernie, you gotta be a little more uppity up on this. Should the U.S. send ground troops into Syria to fight ISIS? Nope. Should the U.S. formally declare war on ISIS? Nope. Nada. We gotta fight those guys with kitchen knives. Should the U.S. provide military assistance to defend Ukraine from Russia? No. We should pursue diplomatic options. We need to solve this issue because this issue is getting a little out of hand. Should the U.S. defend other NATO countries that maintain a low military defense budget related to their relative GDP? I'd have to say no due to non-interventionism and stuff. Should the U.S. continue NSA surveillance of its allies? Absolutely not. It's a violation of their civil rights too. Should the U.S. sell military weapons to India in order to counter Chinese and Russian influence? No. It's not our problem. It's not really our issue. Should the U.S. prevent Russia from conducting airstrikes in Syria? Yes, and formally declare war on Russia. That's a brilliant idea. No, we can't prevent Russia from conducting airstrikes. I mean, that's the thing. It's not. We can't do anything about it. I mean, I'll just put no, because no in the sense that we shouldn't get involved, and we can't prevent Russia from conducting airstrikes. Should the government cancel production of the F-35 fighter? Sure. I mean, I don't really care that much, to be quite honest. But I mean, it'll cost us a hefty penny, and we're not necessarily going to have a lot of good things. Should Jerusalem be recognized as the capital of Israel? I'm debating between Jerusalem is the capital of Palestine. No one foreign government shouldn't be. I'll have to. And Palestine via the 1947 partition plan. No, that's not what I meant. I mean, by the partitioning plan, it went like a East Berlin and West Berlin situation. Should police officers be required to wear body cameras? Yeah. Should convicted criminals have the right to vote? Yeah. I guess it's more just this. Like, I mean, what are they gonna do? Are they gonna vote a rapist to be the head of the country? Oh, wait! Ha 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 ha, Donald Trump joke. Do you support mandatory minimum prison sentences for people charged with drug possession? No, absolutely not. Should the government hire private companies to run prisons? No, absolutely not. Should prisons ban the use of solitary confinements for juveniles? Not just juveniles. I guess this one, because not just juveniles, everybody should. Should drug traffickers receive the death penalty? No, I do not believe in the death penalty. Should nonviolent prisoners be released from jail in order to reduce overcrowding? Sure, yeah. Release them to the world. Should the Electoral College be abolished? Yes, definitely, absolutely. Hold on. Ranked choice voting system. Ranked choice voting is the key to goodness. Photo ID be required to vote? Nah. It'll just automatically register every citizen when they turn 18. Should foreigners currently residing in the United States have the right to vote? Anyone who pays taxes should have the right to vote. Should there be a limit to the amount of money a candidate can receive from a donor? Yeah. Should a foreign lobbyist be allowed to raise money for American elections? Nah. People talking about foreign interactions in our elections. Israel and Saudi Arabia, they love doing that. So, we should stop this. Should political candidates be required to release their recent tax returns to the public? No, I'd respect them more if they did, but they don't really need to. Should corporations, unions, and non-profit organizations be allowed to donate to political parties? Unions and non-profits, sure, I don't see, I could see ideas for unions, but if a corporation's literally giving you money, it's not really much. It said a lot of bad things. Should the minimum voting age be lowered? No one voter should be required. Nah, it's fine where it is. Should there be a 5-year ban on White House and congressional offices from becoming lobbyists after they leave office? Yeah, make it a lifetime ban. I'll just make sure, yeah. Yeah, I'll just put yes. Make it a lifetime ban and ban all forms of lobbying. Should a politician who has been formally convicted of a crime be allowed to run for office? I'm going to leave this one blank. Because I used to have an answer for this, but I'm not so sure. Should the government increase spending on public transportation? Yeah, sure. Public transportation is doing a lot of wonders in other parts of the world. Should the U.S. build a wall across the southern border? No. It's ineffective and stupid. Should Muslim immigrants be banned from entering the country until the government improves its inability to screen out potential terrorists? No, we have a very strict vetting process as it is. So, yeah. Should there be a temporary ban on all immigration in the United States? Nah. That's the paleocon perspective. I always point to the screen as if you guys can see me. Should children of illegal immigrants be granted legal citizenship? If they were born here, they are citizens. Should immigrants be deported if they commit a serious crime? I guess I'd have to say if they were illegal. No, hold on. Nah, I'm not. No, I don't think so. Nah. Should legal immigrants have access to government-subsidized healthcare? If they pay taxes, sure. I'll grant them citizenship. You know, because citizens are ideally, the ones that want to become citizens are the ones that ideally people like. Should local law enforcement be allowed to detain illegal immigrants for minor crimes and then transfer them to federal immigration authorities? No. If a man jaywalked, are you gonna send him? Are you gonna deport him? Should immigrants be required to learn English? Nah, it's not. It's not a requirement. Should legal immigrants be offered in-state tuition rates at public colleges in their residing state? Yeah, sure, as long as they pay taxes. I'm okay with it. Should sanctuary cities receive federal funding? Sure. Should working immigrants be given temporary amnesty? Sure. Everybody should have the pathway to citizenship. Should immigrants be required to pass citizenship? Having like dyslexia or something. Citizenship tests to demonstrate a basic understanding of the country's language, history, and government. Nah. They should instead pass a psychological test should the U.S. Nah, I'm just gonna put nah. I mean, it's not that important. Should the U.S. increase restrictions on its current border security policy? Nah. It's not that bad. Should the U.S. increase or decrease the amount of temporary work visas given to high-skilled workers? Sure, increase. Should immigrants to the United States be allowed to hold dual citizenship status? Yeah, celebrities get to do it, so why can't the normal Juan? Should the government require children to be vaccinated for preventable diseases? Absolutely, yeah. Do you support the use of nuclear energy? No. Cleaner alternatives. Should producers be required to label genetically engineered food, such as GMOs? Consumers have a right to know what's in their food. I trust the science responsible for food engineering, but I don't trust the motives of the food company selling them. Should the government fund space travel? Yeah, sure, but only a little bit. Okay. If the 2020 election were held today, which potential candidate would you vote for? Bernie Sanders. What qualities are most important to a presidential candidate for you? Consistency, honesty, leadership, diplomacy, morality, integrity, transparency. Okay, let's see. Analyzing voting records. All right, here we go. The presidential candidate for the 2020 election that I am about to get is and my number one choice for the 2020 presidential election is it's loading. Come on. Hurry up. Tulsi Gabbard with 91%. Coming in at a close second, we have Bernie and Elizabeth Warren tied at 90. And at third, we have Kamala Harris, Julian Castro with 89%. Kirsten Gillibrand, Beto O'Rourke, Andrew Yang is all the way down there. Klobuchar, Cory Booker. Okay, so no Mike Gravel. Okay, those are this is all of the American presidential election. Like, those are all the currently announced and the two highly speculated candidates that are running. Now, here's some of my things. My themes: moderately towards environmentalism, strongly towards isolationism, moderately towards pacifism, moderately towards regulation, centrist on libertarian. I assumed maybe I'd be a little over here, but whatever. Side strongly towards decentralization. Slide strongly towards multilateralism. Side strongly on socialism. Slide mildly on privacy. Slide strongly on tender. Slide strongly on democracy. Slide strongly on progressive. Strongly left-wing. Strongly collectivist, strongly Keynesian, strongly protectionist, moderately, slightly protectionist, extremely towards big government, slightly towards globalism, moderately towards politically correct, moderately towards secular, moderately multiculturalism. Let's see. Now this one's going to get tricked. That part's tricky, so I'm just going to scoot on down to the political compass. And that's where I am. Cool. Now, those are the presidential candidates. Let's see if they allow these guys. Might be a bit too much for it to handle. Yeah, screw it. I'll just go to the parties. My U.S. political parties. Come on. Here we go. %90 Socialist Party, 88% Green Party, 83% Peace and Freedom Party, 81% Democratic Party, 45% Libertarian Party, 21% Constitution Party, and 10% Republican Party. I freaking got Constitution Party more than... So maybe I should vote for Elijah Manley. Haha. Just kidding. I will give credit. The last time I took this test, they had Peace and Freedom. Peace and Freedom was like really down low because they didn't have Peace and Freedom like labeled properly. Do they have more parties? Nah, they're just taking back up here. So now I'm going to check some more outside of the countries. First, I'm going to start with the UK. Let's see how I am in the UK. What parties I am for UK. Okay, so Labour. Do they? I think they allow me. I think they'll allow me to add the other parties. Labour, like the ones that are exclusively in the UK. I think Labour, Liberal Democrat, UKIP, and Conservative. No, they want to let me add more. Wait, but it says right there I'm 62% green. I guess these are the ones. I guess those are the ones in all the countries. I'm gonna go with Canada next. I predict New Democratic Party or maybe the Canadian. Here we go. New Democratic, then Green, then Liberal, then Libertarian, then Conservative. That makes sense. Now let's see. I guess they removed the Canadian Communist Party. I'm going to do Mexico next. The National Regeneration Movement, Citizens Movement, National Action Party. You don't know that party yet. We'll get to that when we get to that. Okay, let me see. What other countries can I screw around with? Talked shit about Israel, so let me see if they let me have one of their parties. Meretz, Labour, Yesh Atid, Likud, and the Jewish Home. Let me see. I'll do one more and then I'll go back to see if something else can be done with the US. Guess I'll do France. Come on. Really? Nothing? You're not gonna give me Macron or Jean-Luc Mélenchon? Fine, I guess I'll do one more since that one was a complete bust. I know. I'll do Venezuela. Let me see. Am I on Maduro's one? Popular will. What's the popular will party? Oh no, I think this isn't. This isn't. Oh, phew. This isn't, is this? Hold on. No! I got Guido's party! That sucks. But anyways. Do they have that? Hold on, let me check. Ah, they don't let you do that. So, I guess that's it, yeah. That's pretty much it. Thanks for watching this video. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when a future video of mine comes out. And if you're interested in more political content from me, you can go to my website or follow me on Facebook, Twitter, or Quora, or check out my articles on the Independent Political Report. You take the quiz for yourself and you see if you got the person you want.